Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Space Between. Thank you so much for tuning in to see what this is all about. If this is your first episode to listen to, I encourage you to listen to the ones before just so you can listen to all of the great content that our guest panel has brought. I am so thankful for each person that has already volunteered to be on this show to talk about their experience with the Dave Matthews Band, but also just their perspective of this story that is the Dave Matthews Band. We're at 31 years right now, and the conversation is there's a couple of things. Number one, of course, being the release of a new album. And sources are saying now that the studio album will be titled Walk Around the Moon. Now, that should sound fairly familiar to anyone that's been in the DMB community for at least even a couple of years. To my knowledge, I believe that was released or it debuted in 2021 after the COVID pandemic. I was at the concert in 2021 opening tour in Raleigh. Yes. And I believe it debuted during that concert. So I was there to hear it for the first time done to a live group that I'm aware of. And it was one of those songs that of course, it caught my ears because it wasn't something that I automatically knew. Because if you know me, I'm not the annoying person that has to shout out what the song is, but I enjoy so much trying to guess what the song is based off the first note of the first instrument that plays. And I've had some pretty good luck. And I attribute that to many, many years of studying this music. I did have a Facebook page. It was actually a group instead of a page. And long story short, I got kicked off Facebook. I don't know why or what happened, but they disabled my account. Check us out on Instagram. Again, that's under the space between _POD. I never wanted this podcast to be about me or what I have to say. I really want it to be a collective voice of the fans of this group. And so we know there's at least 35,000 fans. Isn't that what Dave says? I only have 30 or someone says I only have 35,000 fans and they all show up to every concert. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And it kind of rings true because if you go to enough concerts for the Dave Matthews Band, you definitely can make some connections and build friendships. But that's what the band is known for. Its fans are hardcore fans, and they go to multiple shows, as many shows as possible, because each show is different. Now, if you don't know a lot about the Dave Matthews Band or haven't been to a lot of live music, one of the things that Dave Matthews Band stands out from the rest is that his live performances are so different than a lot of other artists who also put on concerts. This Dave Matthews Band is definitely considered a jam band. And when they get on stage, it's electric. You can feel the energy, and every show is different because they're up there on stage, professional artists who have a background of not only 31 years in the Dave Matthews Band, but they were all in music before. A lot of them had bands before. A lot of them still do have bands outside of the Dave Matthews Band. And so I always think of like Jeff Coffin as an example. I believe, if I've heard right now, again, all this is rumors because I can't confirm any of this with the band and I don't have time to Google it. So if I'm wrong, shout out to us. Likes to teach. He likes to instruct people on the art of the sax. And then most recently, of course, Rashawn was on the Saturday Night Live show playing in the band with them not being in tour season right now. Well, they're almost there. We're almost there. Everybody that's just fighting for those tour dates, they're almost here. We did see a sneak peek of the tour dates. Now that comes out every year. You know, there's always going to be a leak of some sort. Now, whether that leak is actually accurate or not, it's hard to say because we don't know the source of the leak. But what we do know is compared to the last couple of years, the leak was pretty close to what actually happened. Now, of course, there's always going to be additions and subtractions, but I think even when the actual release comes out from the band, that's subject to change. We all know that because, of course, we're all human and we can't control the future. People get sick, things happen. So that schedule is not 100%. And we've seen them do it time and time again, that they'll add to that schedule and add a fall tour or a winter tour, whatever. And then, of course, we have all of our fans who are getting ready for Dave and Tim in Mexico. I cannot even begin to explain the jealousy that all of us have. And we will just be like on social media, just watching for all of us that can't be there this year or have never been, just how amazing it looks and how amazing it is portrayed on social media. I mean, it looks like heaven, but there's Dave Matthews Band, Dave and Tim in Mexico. So if you're headed to Mexico in the next couple of weeks to see Dave and Tim, let me know. I would love to report your story and why you chose, if it's your first time, if it's your 10th time, why do you choose to go to Mexico for Dave and Tim? I ask that question about more than just that venue. I've asked people, why do you go to the Gorge? Why is that something about every venue? Because there are a lot of venues that people are diehard about. Mexico is one of them. I've heard it's contagious. If you go once and you can afford it twice, you're gonna go as many times as you can afford it because it's an intimate setting on the beach with Dave and Tim. So you just get a whole different concert than what you would with the full band. Now, I will say that I've always fought. I won't say I fought, but I've been like, I don't want to go to Mexico because it's just Dave and Tim. So the first time I admitted that to one of my friends who happens to be a fan, as big of a fan as I am, she said, no, wait, you don't understand. Dave and Tim is so intimate. It feels like you're sitting there on vacation with these two dudes who, by the way, have brought some amazing bands to open up with. So it's not just Dave and Tim. It's so much music on the beach. Pools, drinks, whatever is your fun idea, it's there. And when she described how intimate it was and how personal and how everyone there, it was like Dave camp on a beach. When she explained it like that, it sounded completely different than just come see Dave and Tim at this big resort where you're going to pay $1 million to go and have 3 days of music. That's how I heard it first. And so when she broke it down to me the way that I needed to hear it, I'm dying to go. But this year is not the year for me. I hope to go 1 year and report live from there. But if you're headed to Mexico, shoot me a message. Let me know. I'd love to report your story and your why of why you chose to go to Mexico to see Dave and Tim. And if that's your one stop for the year, or do you do Dave and Tim and then do you just crash into the tour wherever that's at? What's your story? That's what this podcast is about. This podcast is about the story of the fans. Yes, we love the band. Yes, we want to dig into the history and the whys and everything that we can. But mostly I want the story to be about why the fans do what they do. And it's nice to hear other people's perspectives of their why. So definitely message me, look me up on social media. Again, Instagram, it's the space between _POD. That's Instagram. On Facebook, it's just under my name, Renae Lipsmeyer. Definitely look me up. And I would love to have you guest on the show. There are a few steps if you're interested to be a guest on the show. Just message me and I will send you the next step for that. Otherwise, I will talk to you next Thursday where we will have a guest panel. So stay tuned for the release of who those guests will be and what the topics will be. Peace, love, and Dave Matthews Band.